Hi guys, Joanna here from Mindful Counseling, also known as GDS Counseling. I welcome you here today. Now, today's topic might be somewhat sensitive to some of us. I'm aware that it is pretty sensitive for me, and it's a hard topic. Like I said, sensitive, hard topic. It might bring up some emotions in many of you, just like any other sort of podcast that I have done in the past. But I think this one, it just speaks volume, and I will do my best to make sure that this is not a lengthy podcast, but it still falls within my 10 to 15 minute podcast. And I have strong emotions with this, and I never prepare for my podcasts. I just really speak my mind with whatever comes to my mind. And I never listen to my podcasts to see whether or not there is mistakes or not. Like I said, I think it's more about just being able to speak freely as to what comes to my mind instead of necessarily preparing for it. I was thinking of possibly writing things down before I talk about this, but then I also caught myself thinking it doesn't seem so sincere as it would be based on whatever comes to my mind. So I'm just going to go with it. And for all of you that are listening, either in the U.S., and I know I have a large audience in many different parts of U.S. I do see the audience in New Jersey, so I do thank you for all of that. And of course, my audience outside of the United States. This is a sensitive topic. And again, your own experiences with it and of course how you feel about it, and whether or not you have or have not traveled to the United States or whatever you may have experienced in your own country or state as well. So I'm just going to bring it up as it came to me about 30 minutes ago. Not even. I found out about this yesterday, as most of us have. And this is an ongoing issue that has been going on for years. And I don't know what will make it stop. So the Nashville school shooting that just happened yesterday. Now we're talking about children, and I'm not only saying about this shooting, but all the previous ones that have happened in the past, whether it's little kids, teenagers, even adults in colleges. These school shootings exist, and I heard about it yesterday. Then I ended up seeing it was just the regular news video coverage of police officers just going into the building and getting the suspect and making him expire. Now, I found myself getting tearful, and I have a feeling I'm probably going to be tearful as I say this because I have a 9-year-old. And I have all these thoughts running through my head because obviously I want her to get education. And obviously I always hope, more so probably today, since all these shootings that have been going on for many years, is that I hope she's always safe. Because we're talking about children and we're talking about innocent lives. And there is no reason for it, whether we have a gun or we don't have a gun. That's another conversation and a topic, whether I cover it today or not. But I have a 9-year-old, and I become more fearful sending her to school today. And I'm a therapist, right? So I become more fearful sending her to school every single time I hear about these school shootings because they can happen anywhere. And when a parent sees or hears about this, feelings do come up because you almost put yourself in that situation of what is your child going through. And again, trauma exists. And as adults today, I'm an adult sitting here. A child should not be exposed or witnessed or, God forbid, killed because of this issue, this situation that keeps on existing, and nothing in many ways is being done. I think people try to do things, but still nothing is being done. It just repeats itself. So I'm sitting here because I keep on wondering, And I go back to my own childhood experiences. And as I've mentioned in my previous podcast, I moved here from a different country. Not a bad country, but my parents moved here when I was younger in order for myself and my sister to have a better life, to have education, to pursue dreams, to have goals, to have careers. Whether or not it would exist in the country we came from, which was Poland, I don't know. I'm an adult today, so I can't put myself in a situation as to what would it look like if I grew up there. What I do know is that my parents moved here, just like many, many other immigrant parents have moved here for a better life. And I keep on questioning at this point with my child being in school, is it better? And I give myself the answers of maybe the education, maybe the goals of careers, and that we can have more things is there. That we work hard and we achieve what we want. But this is not right. This is where I question what is the part of mental health and what contributes to these issues of shootings and guns, and what makes this what person go into the school or any other building and just, I don't know, have a field trip in their own world. And I cannot help but to conclude in my own ways, based again on being a therapist, on having knowledge and hearing a lot of this stuff, seeing a lot of this stuff, is either some of us experience severe psychosis that contributes to this, which then of course goes down into lack of mental health services or money towards mental health for individuals who may have no insurance or benefits or money, finances. The other part is guns. And again, I could speak this, and this is just my own thoughts towards it. Who has access to the guns? Whether it is psychological exams that need to be there, they don't work because when someone is truly in need of something, they will find a way to receive it. And that is just the way the system works. So guns, shootings, mental health, like I said, whether it is a psychosis or the fact that many individuals still today, and that existed years ago, it still continues to exist, whether it's based on the way we were raised and the lack of emotional intelligence, and how most individuals are very reactive when it comes to their emotions. When anger comes in, again, outside of whatever it is that contributes to someone to do this, is whether it's psychosis, depression, anxiety, whatever it may be, there is anger. There is pure anger that contributes to a behavioral conclusion, some form of a negative behavior, because the lack of not being able to manage the anger, the frustration. So people react, and the hate that is there and is not worked through. And again, I know mental health is important. I'm not saying this is just a mental health therapist. I've been saying this even as I was younger, because I always considered myself as a very observant individual. I've always paid attention to how people behaved and were and acting. And just because I also, like I said, I moved from a different country. So for me to learn is to observe. And of course, based also on the way I grew up, what I was taught, morals, values, what is good, what is bad. And again, our parents and how one teaches their child. And I can't speak for people out there for either teaching bad behaviors or not. But what I'm saying today is, what will make this stop? I came here to have a better life. I came here to not feel scared. I came here to have goals, to be motivated, to have a life, a better life for my daughter who is 9 and who should not be even going through the process of having lockdowns in school. They never existed when I was younger. Not even here in high schools, they never existed. In grammar school, at least not that I remember. And I was here in elementary school, and I was here in grammar school, and I was here in high school, college, not witnessed it once. And these children have to go through the exposure of lockdowns, the fears, the alarms. My daughter does come home certain days and she says they had a lockdown to practice lockdowns, where they hide, how they hide, what they have to do. And it's really scary that they have to go through this because they're 9 or 6 or 3, whatever the school is. So here I'm talking, and whatever it is that you're hearing, the listeners, whatever your thoughts are, and I know I'm just talking and I have feelings and spoken words through this, but this is just bad and wrong. And what will it take for it to not get there anymore? There has been enough of shootings. There has been enough of dying. Children, the fact that children have to die and are dying because of these people going into the school buildings does not make any parent feel better. It does not make any parent feel safe. Public school, Catholic school, colleges, high schools. Why is this still keep on happening? Who are these individuals and why are they not getting services? And I get it. Sometimes a breakdown happens out of nowhere. You think that everything is fine, and then one day it isn't. There's a saying, what happens behind a closed door stays behind a closed door. And people will put on a facade and an image to be a certain way, and one day they snap. It is so important to speak up. It is so important to speak up if you feel like someone is off. If you feel like there's just something going on. It's called intuition for a reason. We have it. It's a feeling. It's an intuition. It's a gut feeling. There's always that saying, right? Go with your gut feeling. You really, truly feel it. And it's so important to voice this out. Continuation of services. Mental health has skyrocketed. The issues of mental health, especially since COVID. And I'm not blaming COVID on this because this has been going on way before. I'm talking about, here I'm sitting as a mental health therapist and I try to take on clients, sometimes on days where I probably need a day off. But I do it because it is needed. But there is individuals out there that need it and are not taking their necessary steps towards it. Guns should not be in certain people's hands at all. This is only a fraction of what I've seen and heard. Because in some ways I also know someone who has gone through this personally and has lost a family because of someone that they killed them. And that person was, or at least I think, they were okay. And they weren't. So it happens and it's a switch. And sometimes it's so important to pay close attention to switches, things that trigger a person. So there's more to this. And I could probably sit here for endless minutes, maybe even an hour talking about this. But I know what my podcasts are about. It is to provoke a thought and to be mindful and to explore and to sit that anxiety, depression exists, psychosis exists. To speak up, to express, not be afraid. Not be afraid if you feel like you want to say that a friend of yours or someone that you know seems to be not okay. This is where mental health comes in. But these guns and these people who have access to these guns should not have guns. They should not be walking into schools killing children, because us as parents are becoming more afraid every single day, sending our children to school, hoping that they come home. This should not be the situation that I am living. And yet, I know my optimistic personality is moving forward. Let's go, continue. But this exists. And what will be done to take care of this? I've been to other countries. I have visited other places. And although shootings do exist, they don't exist the way they exist here. They just do not. There is gun laws. There is some form of control against it. Children are not dying like this. So, I know I'm sure there is many different thoughts and how you guys all feel about this podcast. It's a sensitive issue. It really is. And again, this is not the first time. This is not the last time. And it's sad. And that's what makes it sad. So I only did this podcast because, like I said, I just found out about this yesterday. I just saw the footage. And I'm glad that these police officers went to the school and they handled the situation, I think, so much quicker than any previous school shootings. And they're obviously putting themselves in danger, but something else needs to be done. Something else. So, food for thought, right? I'm glad and I hope you enjoyed this podcast. It's a sad one, but until next time, I hope you are all well and safe.